I'm live. How are we doing? Looks like I am live. All right. Welcome. I apologize. I'm starting the Witchy Weather Report a couple minutes late today because. Oh, hi. Hi, Grayson. Hi, Mary Jane. Hello, Bex Tarot. How are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. I've added a new channel to the Witchy Weather Report, and that's why I started a little late. I am now available on Twitch. I am determined to find witchy community on Twitch. I just love Twitch. I'm on there as a musician all the time, and I love the community. I love the vibe. So if you are on Twitch, please let me know. Let me know what your handle is and find me there. I'm twitch.tv/Sassafras Tarot. So I'm now doing this in 4 places every Saturday because I can't be stopped. Good morning, everyone. How are we feeling? So today I'll be reading for you with the Tarot of the Mystical Cats. Check out that awesome paw vibe on that. Let's see. I think my Insta feed is a little dark. Let me pump up that ring light a little bit. Is it brighter? Is it better? I don't know. Here I am. I'm doing my best. Ooh, if you're on Instagram, you can see a little bit of my plant friend up here. If you're tuned in anywhere else, it's out of the screen, but that's nice. I have this hanging plant that I aspire to be long enough that it just like kind of drapes over my whole space because I am totally a plant witch. But I am also a recovering plant killer, so you know. Ooh, yeah, you're on Twitch. Let me know how it is on Twitch. How's the stream, everybody? Is everything looking and sounding pretty okay? Let me know. I always like to check in. So, it is a new moon. Not a new moon. Nope, I lied. It is a full moon. It's a full moon in Libra today. What does balance mean to you? I actually remember talking a great deal last week about balance, and now our efforts to balance our lives have come to fruition. What does balance look like to you in the last week? What is the best expression of what is right, what is true, and what is just for you on a personal level in your life? That is my question for you today at this full moon in Libra. I remind you, balance doesn't look like having everything. I'm a Virgo and it's hard for me to process this, but balance doesn't look like having everything neatly tucked away and exactly divided into, okay, I do 10% of my time on this and 10% of my time on this. It's not that simple. Balance is a constant series of adjustments. If you've ever driven a boat, you know that it's even more active than driving a car because there are many different things that can affect the direction the boat is going, the waves, the wind, and even the most minute adjustment can really carry you in a new direction. So it's a constant series of adjustments, and that's what real balance is. It's a constant series of adjustments. So, what does balance look like? And I bring up balance because Libra is associated with the scales. Our full moon today is in Libra. But what else do scales represent to us? They represent justice. What does justice look like for you right now in this life? I'm just going to adjust my ears right here so they look their best. I just figured out how to wear my ears and my headphones at the same time. I'm feeling pretty nifty at this moment. Anyway, what does justice look like in your life? How can you be an expression of justice? What would it look like if you considered yourself a foot soldier in justice's army? What would that bring into your life? What would that change about how you live your daily life? And I'm not asking you to dramatically create upheaval in your life because that's not what Libra is about. What would it look like for you to just be a natural expression of justice and to adapt your life so that you are serving justice a little better for yourself and others? Hi, Judith. Yes, I can has earsies. So, I'm about to pull a card for everyone. I do want to share. I'm going to share my stream in a couple of places on the Facebooks. If you like what you're listening to, if you enjoy the Witchy Weather Report every week, I would be tickled pink and delighted if you felt like sharing it around and letting other people join in, because I just love getting to do this every week, and I think the more the merrier. So I always share to one or two groups, because that's what we got to do in this world. That's something I'm always preaching to people is um, it's a different world, than we grew up in. No matter how old we are, it's a different world than the one we grew up in. And we have to make our work visible. And that's something I'm always challenging myself to do, especially as a creative person, as a tarot reader, as a spiritual person. What can I do to make my work more visible? And if that sounds kind of like self-promoting and gross, well, I share with you that doing our true calling is never a gross thing. It's actually a good, positive thing to do that, and to do it well, and to do it effectively. And also that by making visible your own path, you affirm for others that they can have a path too. You affirm for others that they can do the thing you are doing. You're giving them courage. You're giving them a model. You're modeling something. Don't you wish, I really wish, don't you wish you had people in your life modeling all the things that you aspire to and are excited about when you were a kid? I feel like if I was a kid and I really saw like badass women like making music for a living with no apologies, and I did see a little bit of that, like some of the musicians I follow since I was a teenager certainly have been doing that. But if you can see it, you can be it, so I think it's really powerful when we model what we're doing. So you should never be ashamed to make yourself visible. That's my personal opinion. Turn it up, don't tone it down. Hey, Emily, how you doing? Oh, thank you so much, Judith, for sharing. Ooh, I'm a little bit, time for a hydration checkpoint over here. All right, time to pull a card for everyone. By the way, before I start with our card for the week, I will just let you all know as a little reminder that if you would like a card pulled for you after I do the report, drop a cat emoji in the chat. Wherever you are, just drop a cat emoji. And if you can't find a cat emoji, I don't know, say something cute about a cat. That's cool too. I know someone was having difficulty finding the cat emoji last week. And I see a cat from Grayson. Ooh, the cat emoji on Twitch is like, here, I'm going to pop this up on the screen. If you're anywhere but Instagram, you can see the thing I just popped on the screen. The cat emoji on Twitch is like kind of badass. I kind of really like it. I see some cats coming in on Insta. Okay, cool. I'll be scrolling back up for your cats after I do our general reading for the week. So, full moon in Libra. We're also coming into Aries season, which is really interesting. Aries gets a bad rap. Aries gets a bad rap as being like the angry sign. And I have to tell you, like, I'm really close friends with a few Aries, and they're the most delightful people I've ever met. Like, they really are not these, like, people walking around angry all the time. They can get angry, and I have seen some holy anger come out of them. They are masters of saltiness, Aries people are. But they're delightful humans, and they're just led by their passion, and I think that's why people misread them sometimes as angry. Anyway. So what would it look like in this coming month for you to be led by your passion is kind of where I was going with that. We're coming into April. What would it look like if you came in like a lion and a lamb in April? I know that's a March thing. You come in like a lion, go out like a lamb. What would it look like to come in like a lion? Which is Leo, not Aries. I know, I'm just mixing my metaphors. But what would it look like to be deeply passionate and fiery and powerful in April? I am experimenting with that. I have to be honest. I have a working theory that if I just pour my time and energy into the things I'm really, really passionate about, and in order to make room for that, say no and hold boundaries around the things I kind of don't want to do, but kind of feel like I'm supposed to do, I have a working theory that if I do that, that I will be leading a better life and helping more people and actually flourishing more, both financially and like in a mental health level. And I've always been terrified to test that theory. I have to tell you. I just have so much like, I think we all do. Like, I have a lot of shame around like doing what I want. That feels irresponsible and embarrassing and wrong. But this month I'm testing the theory. I'm testing the theory of saying yes, yes, yes to the things I really want to do. And that means saying no to some things that I don't want to do as much. And I'm here for it. Anyway. Mars on the ascendant over here. I like that. Mars rising. That's interesting. Anyway, what are we looking at today? I'm reading with the Mystical Cats Tarot today. Mary Jane says, I already feel like I'm dancing on the edge of crazy by following my photo passion, like my eyes are on fire. I really know what you mean. I like, as I've been exploring this, and I think a lot of people think of me as someone who's like, yeah, she follows her passion. She's a musician. She's a tarot reader. It's true. But there's a part of me that's always like, wait, but what can I do that's just to the left of what I want that makes it like more palatable and appropriate for people? I'm terrified to just go all in. I'm terrified that everyone will hate me. And we really do feel like, whoa, it's crazy. Me doing something I'm enjoying, crazy move, right? And it's not. It's like, we only get, so far as we know, we get this one life, we get this limited time on Earth. Everything else is conjecture. We might as well enjoy it, Like, what else are we doing if we're not enjoying our time? But it's scary. It's terrifying to do the things we love and like own them and be honest about it. Anyway, this week we have the Seven of Sky. Let me talk about opportunities. This card is expressed a little differently than many cards in the deck, but you do see this trickster element here where this one cat in the card is kind of looking up at the sky, looking at this flock of birds, and this other cat's like, yeah, I'll just take that mouse that you caught. That's mine now. Definitely opportunism, right? So let's talk about that for this week. First of all, we have a little bit of a lesson here, right? Which is like, hey, if you're distracted by the shiny thing in the sky, then the thing that you hold in your hand is actually less secure because you're not paying attention to what you already have. So we have this lesson in gratitude. Honoring and enjoying and protecting what we already have is an important part of having it. Just having a thing and then going and trying to acquire more things or looking at what we don't have and comparing ourselves to others, you might as well not have the thing, right? A certain level of success, a level of mastery over your craft that you didn't have a year ago. Stability, right? A roof over your head, right? If you are spending all your time rather than enjoying what you have, constantly trying to get what you don't have, then you're not fully experiencing what you have. And that sucks. That's a bummer, You deserve to experience what you have. You deserve to love it and own it. So that's lesson number 1 from the Seven of Sky. Lesson number 2, I urge you to consider how much you value what you have if you are constantly looking at the sky, daydreaming about something else. How many things have we built into our lives because we just feel like we got to do it? Because we feel like we're supposed to toe the line? You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, everyone expects me to do this. I'm a cat. People expect me to catch mice. But I'm interested in the birdies in the sky. I think they're pretty. What would it look like if you truly cast off the things that maybe you feel like people expect of you and just set your sights on what enthralls you? And maybe this other cat does grab your mouse, right? But maybe you're not even upset about it at that point. I'm thinking of this in a really practical way about going after the work that we love, for example, or going after opportunities that we love. Maybe we lose something that we don't care a whole lot about. I certainly can think about times I have gone after new work opportunities, and it's meant because I kind of checked out at the old work opportunity. I think of one particular, a little bit toxic graphic and web design employer I had. And I realized at some point, like, I'm worth more than this, like they weren't paying me a whole lot, and my skill level could command more. And it was, like I said, kind of emotionally a toxic environment. And I did kind of check out there. And when you do that, you risk whatever, it's all the fears come up like, oh, this person will lose respect for me, or I won't have this job that's my bread and butter, or whatever. But when you open yourself to the new opportunities that you're really excited about, you might find that it's a blessing and a relief when the thing that was stressing you out falls out of your life. So I don't know. I'm just throwing these ideas out here. I'm not telling anyone to uproot and upend your life if you don't want to. I'm just inviting us to dream bigger, to look to the sky. And meanwhile, we got this cat over here who's an opportunist. Are you this cat? Are you the cat who's like, yeah, let me grab the scraps of others? I am. Here we are in capitalism. It's a weird time. So I'm not exactly going to judge anyone for how they do their livelihood, but I do think that if you're kind of a scavenger type of personality, that you're not living in your bliss. You're living in fear. You're living in like, oh, there's something, I'm struggling. I better grab it because scarcity, right? So I just invite us to have a bigger vision. That's my invitation to you from the Seven of Sky today, to have a bigger vision. I'm not even going to invite you to be wary of things like tricksters and things like scavengers. Those type of people will come in and out of your life. And if your focus is on the bigger thing that you want and not, being small and protective, you won't even care. It'll just kind of blow by you. That's my personal view and my personal experience with it. Anyway, Seven of Sky. What does it look like to dream bigger this week? And still, what does it look like to appreciate what you have? You might want to take inventory. If you feel like you're more bogged down than appreciative of your possessions, of what's on your schedule, then are there some things that maybe you should thank and release? Are there some things that you're like, wow, I'm so bogged down, I'm doing too many things, I can't even enjoy the things that I love, that I'm excited about because I'm just too stressed all the time? Are there some things that you should say, hey, thank you, I don't think this is for me anymore? And let them fall out of your life, whether it's clutter or schedule clutter or obligations that maybe at some point you thought would be really fun and now have turned into a drag. It's your prerogative to change your mind. We go through life and we change. It's okay. Anyway, I definitely, I just want to show you, and if you're on Insta, I'm sorry because I can't pop up the little graphics on Insta. But if you're watching anywhere else, Grayson has just posted this like amazing string of cat memes in sunglasses. You guys got to check out the cat memes, or cat emojis, I guess is what I mean, on Twitch, because they're amazing. Look at these guys. They look like they're about to like release their debut album, and it's going to be the kind of thing that your mom doesn't want you to buy. I'm so excited. All right. So I've asked you a lot of questions. I haven't asked you my usual question, which is, how are you doing, everybody? How are we feeling this week? And how are we feeling about some of the ideas that I have been sharing? I want to know. Pop them in the comments. And in the meantime, you should, sorry, I'm thinking two things at once because I just saw a comment from someone who said, I can't see the memes. Here they are. You should be able to see if you're watching on Facebook. I just popped up those little cat emojis on the screen again. I'll leave them up. Why not? They're great. All right. I'm going to start reading individual cards for people. If you would like a card pulled, drop a cat in the chat. The reason I do that, by the way, is because I sometimes get spammers. When someone says drop a card, there are spammers who literally just scan around for posts that say drop a card or whatever. And like start trying to spam you and trying to get you to buy readings from them, even on this live stream. I'm not one of the spammers. Like, people will come in here and try to sell you stuff. Please don't buy readings from random people that come into this chat. I'm sorry if it happens. I try my best to avoid it. That's why I tell people, like, use the cat code, drop a cat emoji. All right. So I know I have a couple of cats here. I have Grayson. I know I have Judith, who was unable to locate a cat, which is just the saddest thing. Judith, you deserve all the cats. And I know I have some people on Insta too. So I'm going to start with Grayson. And after that, I'm scrolling up to see the Insta comments. I see Mary Jane. I see Melissa, I see Bex, I see Emily. Grayson, Judith, Mary Jane, Bex, Emily, Melissa. Not necessarily in that order, but I think that's everyone. If I missed you and you dropped a cat, drop another cat. Mary Jane says, I switched to Facebook, so here's my cat again. People get very excited about the cats. Melissa's saying, dream big and be appreciative. Great daily practice. I really agree. All right, so I'm starting with you, Grayson. On deck is going to be you, Mary Jane, and then I'll let y'all know who's coming up after that. Reading from the Tarot of the Mystical Cats. I gotta tell y'all, I went to Barnes & Noble yesterday. Something I used to do more often, but you know, we're in a pandemic. It's a little scary. I was picking up a new book by my favorite author. I try to buy those in store when I can. And I was in the tarot section and I really wanted to get, they had the tarot, Art Nouveau tarot from Lo Scarabeo. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It's gorgeous. I have coveted that deck for a while. And I was sitting there in the tarot section like, do I buy this for myself? Do I buy another tarot deck? I don't want to go home and regret this purchase. And y'all, I didn't buy it and I'm regretting not buying it. I really wish I had it. So another Barnes & Noble adventure where I buy more tarot cards might be in stock for me. Anyway. Demon Cat. All right. Well, we're talking about literally facing your demons here. Grayson, this card is for you. Often when we face our demons, we realize that they're more bark than bite, which feels disrespectful to say to a cat. Cats don't bark. But I think you know what I'm saying here. There's a lot of bluster. There's a lot of like pushing your fear buttons from your inner demons because they're trying to control you. We talked a little bit today about how scary it is to go after the things we really want and how it feels crazy. Like it feels like we're crazy to do something that we really enjoy, which of course is not crazy. It's actually advisable, right? But when we actually go all in on something we're passionate about, there's a part of us that feels crazy. It's like, oh, this isn't safe. And that's your inner demon pushing your fear buttons, right? Making you feel like you're going to be judged. People aren't going to like you, like whatever your personal inner demons tell you. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's going to be a big problem. It's going to be embarrassing for you. You know, that kind of stuff. That's what Demon Cat does. And it's because Demon Cat is small and scared and wants to keep you small and scared too. Most of our inner demons come from experiences of other people we've had who are themselves small or scared or vulnerable or messed up in some way. And I say that with love, like they've had bad experiences and that's why they give you bad experiences. Bullied people bully, abused people abuse. And so the fears that we have in our head that keep us small are from other people who are being kept small by their own fears and inner demons. And there's different ways to approach this, right? You can fight with your inner demons. You can be like, yeah, the hell with you. I'm doing it anyway. Super valid for some personalities. And it is Aries season, you know, feels very tempting to be fighty. But you could also invite your inner demons to tea. You could be like, hey, I know we disagree, but why don't we just have a conversation anyway and try to be nice to each other, you know? You could look at your inner demons as someone to have a conversation with, but not give your car keys to, you know, like you can have your say if you want, you know, and I'll listen respectfully, but then I'm still going to do what I think is right, you know. What does it look like to meet your inner demons from a place of your own higher wisdom, from a place of being even keeled and kind and mindful, rather than getting sucked into their games? I don't know. You tell me. And I'm not telling you to go like head first into any kind of really crazy shadow work. That can be a lot. This can be a baby steps kind of thing. You're welcome. All right. Now I'm going to read for Mary Jane. After Mary Jane, Judith is on deck. Then I have a couple more people on deck, so don't worry. I have not forgotten you. Thank you all for tuning in for the Witchy Weather Report today. By the way, I do have a virtual tip jar. I don't know if it shows up on Instagram or not. I put it in the title, but I don't know if that's even visible. But it's at Rory Kelly, RORIEKELLY on Venmo or paypal.me/Rory Kelly. I never expect, I always appreciate. A couple people are often generous with the virtual tip jar, and I'm deeply thankful for you. And I look at it like I look at everything, which is if it's easy to be generous, be generous. And there are ways to be generous that are not financial. I certainly feel that way. So I never, ever, never expect people to be generous in a financial way. All right, shuffling for you, Mary Jane. Hey, Ondine, how you doing? How did that test of yours go last week? Mary Jane, here is your card. Huh, you got the demon cat as well. I shuffled a good amount, and I did a little bit of a reconnoitering of the piles too. But we're back with demon cat. Let's talk about demon cat, which actually reminds me a little bit of some of your spooky plant photos. Look into the abyss. The abyss looks back at you. What do you see in this demon cat? And I know I just spent a little bit of time talking about it, so I don't want to rehash everything I said. Instead, I want to invite you to ask yourself when you see a scary image like this, you know, someone kind of making a scary face, being very seemingly aggressive, although demon cat isn't moving forward. Demon cat actually seems like it's guarding this dead bird, doesn't want you to come any closer, isn't necessarily moving forward. What do you see? A lot of us feel frightened when we look at images like this, when we face our inner demons. And often when we get this very aggressive stance stuff coming up in our lives, it is a manifestation of fear. Our inner demons are our fear. They are projecting fears onto us. We're projecting fears onto them. So, what are we afraid of? Well, what are we afraid will happen if we are honest with ourselves, if we make the art we want to make, if we spend our time the way we want to spend, whatever your inner demons are trying to get you not to do, because that's how inner demons work. They don't want you to be happy. What's so scary about it? What would it look like to have a conversation, an honest, calm, even-keeled conversation, and say, well, what is it that's so scary? What if you asked your inner demons what they're so afraid of, or what their message is for you, or what are they trying to tell you? You might be surprised. Usually, even our inner demons have some kind of protective intention. You know, they may not be very nice about it. You know, they may say, well, I don't want you to make a fool of yourself. I don't want you to be embarrassed. Which is certainly kind of a toxic thing to say to someone, but comes from a place of love, right? How many of us in our lives have felt restricted because someone said, don't embarrass yourself by doing that? You know, like, you shouldn't sing, you don't have a good voice, you shouldn't wear that, you don't have the right type of body to wear that. Now we feel like we can't celebrate ourselves, we have to hide parts of ourselves. That said, the person telling you that probably feels that way too, probably has their own inner demons, and probably feels they have to hide parts of their selves. And they're coming to you with love because they're trying to save you from a feeling, in this case, like maybe the feeling of humiliation, you know? That doesn't mean that everything they're suggesting to you is right. It just means that maybe you can have a broader perspective. Instead of just being afraid and stressed by your inner demons, maybe you can realize they're coming from a certain place, they have an intention, and you can decide for yourself the value of that once you step out of your fear. So that's my invitation to you this week. Step out of your fear and decide for yourself if you value what your inner demons have to say. And even if you do value it, it doesn't mean you have to act on it exactly the way they want you to, you know? You can just take it under advisement and make your own choice. Oh, Mary Jane is saying, toxic colleague who keeps challenging me and backing off when I come back at him. He's hissing but easily fobbed off, but exhausting all the same. Yeah, I feel you. That's not even an internal demon, that's an external demon. That's annoying. I feel you. That takes a lot of energy. Also, a photography acquaintance who keeps intimating my photos are fun, but not real photos yet because they're from a phone, not a camera. That person has their own imposter syndrome issues. I'm just going to call it out. I'm just going to say that person has their own issues of being like invalid and an imposter and stuff like that, and they're projecting it right on you. Your art is real. All right. Who is on deck? Judith is on deck. Then I got some other people on deck. Hi, I see a couple of people have joined on Instagrams. Dean says, if I passed, it was by the seat of my pants. I hope you passed by the seat of your pants. I hope you did. And I hope your pants are still intact, because otherwise, embarrassing. I'm just scrolling up to make sure I see everyone who wanted a card. All right, so on deck, Judith, Melissa, Bex, Emily. And anyone who's joined more recently, if you would like a card pulled, drop a cat in the chat. That's the code that we use. Just drop a cat emoji in there. Or if for some reason you can't find the cat emoji, just say something about a cat in the chat. That works too. Tell me your favorite color of cat. They're all good. I'm partial to black cats. It's partially my little witchy aesthetic, but I had a black cat I loved for many, many years. She was a sweetie. She was the queen of my heart. Now I actually don't know if I get another cat again. I don't know if I can get another black cat because it might be too close to home, you know. Not something I have to worry about right now. Judith, I'm shuffling for you right this moment. Someone on Instagram saying meow. Valid. I'll pull a card for you. My meowy friend. Got a lot of people tuned in today. That's really nice. By the way, if you just joined, we have a full moon in Libra this weekend. And that prompts me to ask you, how is fairness, balance, and justice being reflected in your life right now? What would it look like for you to embody these things in your own day-to-day practice? Not in a big upheaval kind of way, not in a big thing that changes your life. What would the small tweaks to restore a little bit of more fairness, balance, and justice into your life look like? That's my first question for you. My second question is this, the card of the week is the Seven of Sky. And the lesson I take away from the Seven of Sky is, what would it look like to dream so big that you weren't worried about grasping on so tightly to the small stuff? What would it look like to really go so in on your dreams that you don't even mind if they're kind of scavengers coming at you, trying to one-up you, because you are in a bigger headspace. And, you know, if they're in that small headspace, you know, what are you going to do other than feel compassion for them? What would it look like to dream so big that you weren't afraid of competition and pettiness? Fairness, balance, and justice have been the vibes this week, to be honest, says Emily. Yeah, big feels. Oh, everyone's talking about what their favorite colors of cat are. I'm so excited. Silvana says, I adore all colors of cats. My two now are orange and a tabby calico mix. Oh, tabby calico. That's like the best. That's like the everything cat. It's like you're at, you know, I don't know, build a cat and you're like, all the colors. I love it. I'm delighted by it. All right, Judith, I know I've been shuffling your card forever. Sorry, I get sidetracked. Judith, let's talk about you this week. We have the Tower, which, as you can see in this card, is an adorable scratch post with cats literally flying off of it. Here's an interesting interpretation of this card, though, in this deck, because cats always land on their feet. If a tower falls down, a cat will certainly be deeply annoyed and express their displeasure as only a cat can, which we need to do from time to time. But they'll land on their feet and they'll be okay, and 5 minutes later, like, they're going to act as if it didn't happen. The Tower is about structures that we have come to rely on toppling, finding out that perhaps the thing that we put so much stock and faith in was a house of cards and wasn't as strong and stable as we believed. And if you study the tarot, you know that the card after the Tower in the deck is the Star, inspiration. Sometimes big things have to come down to make room for the new things that have been just dying to grow in your life. So, if you were having a Tower moment, my compassion and my love goes out to you, because they're not usually fun. They challenge us. They make us really feel like our life is topsy-turvy and upside down. But I will remind you that, like a cat, you will land on your feet, and you will probably be surprised to find that not too long after, you'll be living a better life. You will find inspiration that you didn't have room for the week before. And like a cat, you might be going on with your life as if it never happened. You might just be like, yeah, I'm cool. Whatever, I'm a cat, no big deal. All that drama didn't take place. Laptop battery dying. Well, thanks for tuning in. I'm glad that I got to read your card for you before your laptop battery died. Oh, I'm just going to pop this up here for you, Mary Jane, because I have people tuned in on 4 different platforms right now. If you just joined, I joined Twitch today as Sassafras Tarot, twitch.tv/Sassafras Tarot. I am determined to find witchy community on Twitch. So if you are on Twitch, please message me and let me know. I want to follow you. So I'm on 4 different platforms, and I try to share the comments. I don't think I can show it to you on Instagram, because Instagram's the only one I'm doing separately on my phone. But Grayson is saying, I have seen entire gallery shows of photos taken with phones. So your art is very valid, Mary Jane, and I'm sorry that this grumpy person is trying to make you feel like it's not. They must lead a very small life. Who's next? I keep forgetting who is the order of the Instacats. The Instacats. All right, I see a couple of people. I see Melissa. Melissa, I think you're next. Then Bex. And then Emily. And then I'll check back in for more Instacats. Don't worry. I'll keep reading. On Insta, Sylvanas is saying, fairness, balance, and justice are basically absent in my life, but I'm working on it. Big feels. I've definitely been there, and it can feel like a slog. And from personal experience, I'm going to invite you to come up with small ways that you can give yourself fairness, balance, and justice. If the external world kind of isn't giving it to you right now, because it does help, and it will help morale, and it'll help you understand what you need to do in the long term. Melissa, reading with your favorite deck today. All right, Melissa, Earth Kitten, this is very appropriate for you, because you are embarking on new ways of creating your livelihood. I know, because I know you and I'm friends with you. Earth Kitten, what does this mean? You're such a competent person, and yet you're back in beginner vibe. I remind you that learning is like a spiral. So it's not a straight line where we're like, oh, I'm learning. I'm just getting better and better and smarter and smarter. And the plateau method is valid too. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm getting better. Oh, I'm hanging out. Oh, I'm getting better. I'm hanging out. But in my opinion, the best model is a spiral. You spiral around as you learn. You get a little higher every time. You come back to the same subject again and again. And you're like, what the heck? I thought I mastered this. You didn't. You leveled up last time, and now you're leveling up again. And the things that you keep coming back around to are your lessons. They are your path for this life to improve yourself and be a light in the darkness for others. Because when we need a teacher for something we're struggling with, we don't necessarily turn to someone who has it all figured out. We turn to someone who has also struggled, because they can tell us how to get unstuck better than someone who is never stuck. Anyway, all of that is to say that you will be finding things come up in the coming week. that maybe you're like, oh, I thought I conquered this. I thought I figured this out around things like your livelihood, your stability, how you define yourself as a provider. And I'm inviting you to approach this with like a joyful heart, to know that you get a fresh start in this coming week and you get to explore and experience possibilities that maybe you thought were not available to you. Maybe now they are, and maybe they make you feel like a beginner, like a kitten who might flop over and fall down. And I invite you to go all in and just enjoy it anyway, to enjoy it as a playful romp. That is my invitation to you this week. I'm reading Judith's comment. Judith says, I did indeed fall down. I'm going to floof my furs, clean myself, stretch my claws, and strut and shake it off. Yes, climbing back up and reach for the stars. Yes, baby. Please do. You're a badass. I don't think you cannot land on your feet, to be honest, because you're just such a resourceful and good-hearted person. And that's a hard combination to mess with, in my personal opinion. Bex, I'm pulling a card for you at this time. Bex Tarot. By the way, if you are enjoying the Witchy Weather Report, wherever you are, please follow me and hit that notification bell so that you get notifications when I go live. I do this every Saturday. I don't know where you're tuned in from. It's 11 a.m. for me is my start time here, Eastern time zone. 8 a.m. Pacific time. That's rough. I'm not a morning person. Sorry, Pacific time people. And GMT right now is 4 hours ahead, but I know they're about to be 5 hours ahead. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting until daylight savings time settles out to give those times. All right. Bex, here is your card. 9 of Fire. I'm trying to show this on both screens. Pardon me. 9 of Fire. Let's talk about this cat congregation on the card here. Because the 9 of Fire can, it's the 9 of Wands in a typical tarot deck, but this feels like a slightly different interpretation. 9 of Wands can feel a little like, oh gosh, we can never get a break. What goes on with that? The cats on this card are taking a break, which is often exactly what the 9 of Wands actually wants you to do. They're gathered around a fire. We don't know exactly what their life is like. This is kind of a camped out fire, so this may not be like their every night routine. And they're taking care of themselves and taking downtime to fight another day. What does that look like for you in your life right now? What area do you need to have a campfire about? To rather than keep pushing and pushing and pushing, to give yourself a little bit of downtime, so that you can push with your full strength tomorrow instead of continuing to try to pour from an empty cup. And I urge you to make it like a little bit of downtime, because the 9 of Wands also indicates that you're almost at your goal, So I don't want you to feel like, oh God, I'll never get there. I just need to take a break forever. Take a break for long enough to replenish yourself, because you actually have made tremendous progress, and it's just very hard to see when you're in the thick of it. So give yourself what you need to take care of yourself, during this time. And see if just showing up for your self-care a little bit doesn't give you the perspective you need to keep pushing tomorrow, and maybe to push in a new way. Maybe you learn that it doesn't have to be such a slog. That is my wish for you. Beck says, yes, thank you. I'm exhausted at the moment. Well, I'm sorry. Please take good care of yourself. I feel like fully 50% of my job as a tarot reader is to be the mom friend, is to remind you all to take friggin' care of yourselves and be nice to yourselves and drink water and bring a sweater. It's so easy for us to get caught up in shoulds that we forget about the basics of just being kind to our small human existence, just being kind to our minds and bodies and spirits. Emily, you are on deck. Then I've got Ondine and Sylvanas. That's who I've got. If I've missed anyone, please let me know. Oh, don't forget me. And I won't. So Emily, Ondine, Sylvanas. That's the order of people I will be pulling cards for. And if you are not on that list, and you should be, drop a cat in the chat or be like, hey, Rory, what the heck? Let me know. So, Emily, I'm shuffling for you. I need to catch up with you. I want to ask you how stuff is going, because I know you had like big potential news coming up. I'm really curious. Hey, Rory, what the heck? I'm pulling your card right now. 4 of Fire. I just want you to bask in these very mystical cats for a moment. I just want to give them to you because I think this card is particularly lovely. So these cats are gathered around this lovely crystalline light orb thing, much as they might gather around like a $2 laser pointer. Let's be honest. They're very, very transfixed by it. And they're happy and they're relaxed. This is about you expressing your passion in a way that feels good but relaxed. The 4 of Fire is traditionally a celebration card. It's about honoring what you have accomplished, taking a moment, right? Rather than continuing to push and push, to just be like, let me celebrate. Let me gather the people I care about with me, and let me celebrate, and let me own all the goodness in my life. We talked a little bit earlier, and I don't know if you were here for it. We talked a little bit earlier about how if you have things in your life, but you are not experiencing having them because you're so busy, like trying to get to the next level, trying to fix something, trying to accomplish a goal, that you don't appreciate what you have, you might as well not have it because you're not getting the experience of enjoying it. So now is a time to sink into the experience of what you have created for yourself, of the collective energy of you and your chosen family and the people you care about in your life, and just enjoy it. You're allowed. You're allowed to celebrate. You're allowed to take a break. You're allowed to feel good. Emily says, hey, Rory, what the heck is the only way I will address you from now on. Valid. Always appropriate. Appropriate for any occasion. Also a lovely non-gendered salutation. Have you considered, instead of ladies and gentlemen, which is gendered, saying, hey, y'all, what the heck? Please don't take advice from me. Hey, Karen, how are you? So good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Karen, do you want me to pull a card for you? Let me know. I'm doing 1 card pulls for people. If you want a card, the secret code is to drop a cat emoji in the chat. So let me know. Hello, I see a couple people just tuned in. Thank you for tuning in to the Witchy Weather Report. I usually do this from 11 to 12 Eastern on Saturdays. I don't have a hard stop today, so if I go a little over, it's no big deal. All right. Who is next? Ondine, pulling a card for you, my darling. Emily says, my favorite non-gendered greeting is, listen up, fives, a 10 is speaking. I mean, I'm just going to say that's pretty epic. I feel like I need to do a little extra shuffling right now. Judith says, here's a non-gendered greeting. Dudes is, what the fuck? I know there are people who consider dude to be gendered, and I will absolutely respect that and not say dude, to those people. But I don't know, is dudes is gendered? Is it the zzz, does that make it not gendered? Maybe it's okay. You can call me dude if you want to, y'all. Feel free. But I'm gender fluid. I'm really good with everything. Ondine, I pulled 2 cards for you by mistake, so you're getting both. That doesn't happen often, so here we go. 6 of Earth and 3 of Sea. Let's talk about this because both of these cards are about reconnection. They call back to childhood nostalgia. They call back to people who have been a part of your life that you reconnect with, kind of in a let your hair down kind of way. And it's interesting that both sides are here. So 6 of Earth specifically really speaks of childhood. You really see this like grown-up cat and these couple of kittens, and you really sense this, kind of parental vibe, this kind of vibe of, the kitten's learning. And here's like a slightly older kitten who's like maybe an older brother type kitten, and the parent cat is being really kind. They're like cleaning up this little kitten. So what that is for you is childhood lessons that you learned in childhood that were positive, not necessarily negative. How did you learn to be resourceful for yourself in childhood? How did you learn to show love and generosity? Love languages that are more on the practical side are what the 6 of Earth represents. Things like helping someone with a big project. Things like holding the door for someone when their hands are full. Things like lending someone $5 when they forgot their wallet, or just paying for it because it's $5. Who cares? That kind of really practical showing of love. Things like putting a Band-Aid on someone's knee. Now we also have the 3 of Sea, which suggests some reunion. It suggests an opportunity to get back with people who make you feel like you can be yourself, and or who harken back to an earlier version of yourself. Maybe pieces of yourself that you've forgotten along the way or deprioritized along the way. And maybe some of that growth was good, and maybe some of it was not. Maybe there's parts of yourself you would like to reclaim at this time. So what's coming up from your past for you in this week? It might actually be a great time to like pick up the phone and call someone you haven't talked to in a few years, that kind of thing. And or, just to kind of make this your own exploration tour and ask yourself, like, what's coming up for you that maybe you haven't thought of in a while? And how does it impact you today? I specifically do feel like there's this interesting thing to revisit about resourcefulness and showing love. That's kind of the category that we're talking about here. What does the universe want you to kind of meditate on around that topic this week? That's my question for you. Judith is clarifying, by the way, that dudes is a collective pronoun. Like you. I know you is collective, and you all is, not necessarily grammatically correct, but I like it. I'm a fan of y'all. So I hope y'all don't mind if I call you y'all. And or dudes is. You're welcome. All right, Sylvanas, I have a card for you, and then that's all I have got for you guys. Unless I'm sitting here talking about gendered language, and I'm like, you guys, that's all I've got for you, wonderful, ethereal beings. So if you would like me to pull a card, and I have forgotten you or didn't see it or something, now's the time to let me know. Now's the time to say, hey, Rory, what the heck? Judith says, I love y'all, but dudes is quirky. I agree. That's true. It is. It's cute. It's kind of adorable. All right, Sylvanas, this card is for you. Cat magic. Well, this is, I think, really appropriate in your life right now because I know you mentioned that you're working on bringing justice and balance into your life, even though you don't feel like you're receiving it. Cat magic is like the magician in a traditional deck, and it suggests that the power is in you. It urges you in particular to keep a sense of awe around what is possible. Often we kind of learn things and take them on as whatever skills and knowledge and what have you, and then it loses its mystery for us. I think about this with the tarot sometimes. When I first came to the tarot, I remember reading my first ever book about the tarot and my first deck, and how I just felt so witchy and mystical, and now it's like an old friend, like now I can absolutely phone in a tarot reading and give a pretty good one. And I don't wish to do that because I don't want to phone in my life. You know what I mean? But I'm at a knowledge level of the tarot that I'm capable of doing that. And we lose something. And it doesn't necessarily even mean that we lose, sometimes you have to phone in your life. Sometimes you're like going through stuff and you just have to show up and do your best, right? But we lose something when we do that. It's no longer a special experience. Much like I was talking about how we may as well not have things if we don't appreciate having them and don't experience them. So I want you to regain some awe this week for what you are capable of, for things that you've learned, for knowledge that you have, for skills that you have, and to regain some appreciation for the fact that probably at one time that felt over your head and it felt scary and it felt arcane, and now it's just stuff that you understand and you can do. And at the same time, knowing that you have gained that knowledge and that skill, appreciating the fact that you are probably good to gain more knowledge and more skills, and the things that feel over your head right now are probably within your grasp if you just apply yourself. Cat magic, the power to change your life, is very literally in your hands. That feels like a great ending point. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in this week. I urge you to dream big this week. I urge you to dream so big that you just don't have time to worry about the small stuff. I urge you, if your life is stressing you out for any way, to ask yourself how you can be an agent of justice and beauty and peace as we go into this full moon in Libra. How you can give that to yourself even if the world is not giving it to you. How you can put it out into the world. How you can turn the volume up on beautiful things that you are doing because they are worthy and important and can be a tipping point for someone else. Someone else may see you sharing your art, your passion, your wisdom, and it might change their life. It might change the trajectory of their day. It might make them smile when they thought they were not capable of smiling that day. It might give them courage to try something themselves that they've been excited about but frightened to go all in on. So be yourself loudly, my loves. I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're watching because I want to get to check in with you again every week. And have a wonderful day.